Welcome again to NR Recaps. Now I will explain drama romance movie Gemma Bovery. Released in 2014. Earlier than beginning the film, make certain to subscribe and prefer this video. The film starts with an old man named Martin. He shifted from Paris to this village a few years ago. Now he owns a bakery on this village. Martin lives along with his wife and son, but most of the time Martin is working in his bakery. One morning when he is working, by accident all of his bread is burnt. At that moment his wife tells him why he isn't centered on his work. Martin replies that he became thinking about Charles. After that Martin is going out. After that we see Charles's residence. He become burning something, and due to that a variety of smoke turned into popping out of his residence. While Martin sees that he is going to his house, Charles tells Martin that he's burning all of the matters belonging to Gemma. At that moment Martin sees a diary and takes it domestic. The diary also belongs to Gemma, and when Martin starts analyzing it, the story is going lower. Back to a flashback, we see Gemma and Charles, and they both are at their wedding. After the wedding they got here to this village for a simple existence, and their new neighbor became Martin sooner or later. Whilst Charles and Gemma go to buy a few bread from Martin's bakery, while Charles is searching at the bread, Martin could not prevent looking at Gemma as if he has started out loving Gemma. The following day Gemma's canine is walking outside, and at the equal time Martin's canine is likewise out of doors walking. It is why Martin follows his dog and by accident meets Gemma. After that they begin speak me. After talking for some time they start liking every different, and that they maintain talking for a few minutes, and whilst Gemma is leaving she smiles at Martin and says bye. Martin receives glad and begins loving Gemma. Later at night time Charles goes to Martin's residence and asks him for assist. Charles tells him that there is a few difficulty with electricity and he needs his assist. Martin goes with him to his house and fixes the strength. At that second Charles and Gemma get impressed and start speaking to Martin. On the equal time Martin's wife comes to their residence and they all begin speaking, even as Martin is absolutely silent due to the fact he is just looking at Gemma. The next day Gemma goes to Martin's bakery. Martin tells her how unique his bread is and the way people love it. After that Martin asks Gemma if she wants to see how he makes these kind of slices of bread. Gemma replies that she wants to try making a few bread within the kitchen. Martin tells Gemma to make a few dough. She began making dough even as Martin changed into constantly looking at her. After some time Gemma feels hot, so she takes to the air her sweater, and that's why Martin appears at her even more. He appears at each part of her frame. After that Gemma leaves. Day after today some visitors come to Gemma's residence, and among the ones visitors there's a girl who's cute and lovely. After some time Gemma asks that girl how she is so in shape and lovely. The girl tells Bailey. Recurring Gemma gets inspired by means of that female, and due to that she begins running and workout routines. She makes it her everyday habitual. Sooner or later Martin meets Gemma and he asks her why she does not come to his shop these days. Gemma replies that she is on a eating regimen and that is why she would not come to his save. After announcing that she begins leaving, while she walks some steps she starts a evolved screaming, and that is why Martin requested her what took place, and she replies that there's a Trojan horse in her garments. She tells Martin to check her garments to see if there's whatever in there. Martin starts a evolved establishing her returned buttons, and after a while he sees a malicious program. Martin then removed the malicious program and advised Gemma that it become a poisonous insect, but he have to eliminate his poison from her lower back. Gemma replies to do it quickly. Martin then tells her that he have to suck it from her again. Gemma would not think whatever and tells him that he can do whatever he desires to do away with the poison. After that Martin started sucking on her returned. At the time a boy named Harvey come here and notice them in an absolutely extraordinary scenario. He could not recognize anything, after which asked them what they were doing. Martin defined to him that Gemma changed into bitten by way of a toxic insect and he became just sucking out poison from her frame. At the same time as they may be talking, Gemma gets subconscious and falls. On the time Harvey and Martin take her to the clinic in Harvey's automobile. The health practitioner gave Gemma some medicine and discharged her. Whilst coming again domestic, Gemma was searching at Harvey constantly. It looks like she has started loving him. At the same time as searching at him, Gemma fell asleep and put her head on Martin's shoulder, and after some time they attain domestic. Tomorrow while Gemma is shopping inside the market whilst Harvey comes to fulfill her, she receives really happy after seeing the guys, then starts speak me. At the same time as Martin was looking them from a distance, he concept about what they is probably speak me about, and after a while he understood that Harvey desires to get intimate with Gemma and he will in no way love her. After some time Gemma and Harvey visit their houses. Later whilst Gemma reaches her home, Charles tells her that he wants to throw a celebration at the residence, and She ought to go to the marketplace and bring some alcohol afterward. Gemma is going to the market to shop for a few alcohol for the party inside the marketplace. Gemma is trying to find some excellent nice alcohol. She again meets Harvey and Gemma tells him approximately the birthday party and that she needs to find some good excellent alcohol. Gemma buys all the alcohol which Harvey told her to buy. After a while Gemma sold all that alcohol and places it in her automobile and starts off evolved. Using home. Meanwhile Martin noticed her with Harvey and that is why he starts following her. Martin become thinking that she will go to her residence. However, after some time she goes directly to Harvey's house. Martin was following her. She went interior Harvey's house. Even as Martin was ready outdoor, Martin was considering Gemma and what she have to be doing within the residence with Harvey. However, after some time Martin convinces himself that they must be just speak me and consuming. After that Martin goes home. Later at night there may be a party at Charles's residence and Martin is also gift there, but he's silent and simply seems at Gemma. After a while he notices a love bite on Gemma's neck. Martin knew that love bites simplest come when someone gets intimate, and that is why he begins doubting Gemma that she is getting intimate with Harvey. Later Martin feels responsible due to the fact nothing could have took place between Gemma and Harvey if he had no longer taken her in his car to the clinic. The next day Martin goes to meet Harvey and asks him about his studies. Harvey replies that his research are not top because he couldn't focus. Martin then tells him that if he isn't focused he need to name his female friend due to the fact then it might be easy for him to observe with her. Harvey responded that it changed into a terrific concept, he would do the identical. After that Harvey left. In the meantime Martin is going to Gemma's residence and sees Gemma as going someplace. He begins following her and after a while she reaches Harvey's house. After that when Gemma meets Harvey they immediately get intimate. Martin gets indignant after watching them collectively and come home. Martin begins wondering that he need to communicate to Gemma and inform her that she must stop her affair due to the fact there may be no future for her dating with Harvey. At the equal time he receives a double concept that if he tells all this to Gemma she would possibly get dissatisfied and damage their friendship and then he might not be capable of meet her once more, and that is why he decides not to inform her something. The following day Gemma comes to Martin's save and tells him that Charles goes to London for some days. She then orders 2 cakes and will pay the money. After that when she leaves in a hurry she forgets 1 cake at the bakery. After a while Martin brings that cake to Gemma's house. However, whilst he sees via the window Harvey and Gemma are becoming intimate and they may be speaking about how a good deal they love each other, while Martin hears all that he receives sad due to the fact he is aware of that Harvey is lying to her. It is why Martin comes back home and begins eating the equal cake. At that moment his spouse comes. She tells him that considering that Charles has long gone to London, Gemma looks glad even in her husband's absence. After a few days Charles comes home and still Gemma would not forestall going out in the future. Whilst she's going out Charles asks him wherein she's going. Gemma replies that she's going for a jog. However, when she goes outdoor she secretly involves her residence in the back of and changes her garments to a really appealing dress. After that she immediately goes to Harvey's house and eliminate her, get dressed and get intimate. In the meantime whilst they're getting intimate through mistake they wreck a statue. When Harvey sees that he receives definitely upset and tells Gemma that it's her mother's preferred statue. Whilst she is aware of that he had broken her favored statue she will get upset. Gemma replies that her husband is a tremendous carpenter and he will restore it, this is why he have to deliver it to our residence. After a few days Harvey agreed to that. When that Gemma tells him that she's going to London after a few days, will he come to London for her? Harvey replies that he'll come everywhere for her. While Gemma hears that she gets surely happy glad and comes home. After some time she goes to the bakery. Gemma tells Martin that she's going to London for all time and whilst Martin hears that he gets absolutely unhappy. Later at Harvey's house his mom has come to look him after spending a while in the house. His mother asks him approximately her preferred statue. She says that she had sent him here to examine and she found out that he has been doing some wrong activities. At last Harvey's mother receives irritated and asks him about the statue. Harvey replies that there were a few scratches at the statue and that is why he gave it to a close-by chipper named Charles to repair it. Moreover, he's going to bring it returned soon. At that moment his mother tells him that he won't stay right here anymore, he will move back to Paris with her. While they're talking Harvey gets a message from Gemma. She tells Harvey that she is coming to his house. Harvey replies to her inside the message that she have to no longer come to his residence due to the fact his mother is domestic and he may not go to London along with her because he goes return to Paris together with her mother. In the meantime Gemma becomes standing out of doors his house and when she read the message she got really unhappy and started out crying. After a while she started going. Returned home day after today. Harvey's mom is going to Charles's store and tells him that his son gave him a statue for solving and he or she desires it again. Charles replies that he does not have any statues. After talking for some time, Harvey's mom begins arguing, after which she offers her vehicle to Charles and leaves. She additionally takes Harvey together with her, and when Martin sees that, he receives virtually glad. Later in the day, whilst Charles tells the whole lot to Gemma, she seems upset and that's why he asks her why is she unhappy. Gemma replies that she needs to say something. Charles immediately understood that she had cheated on him. He receives simply irritated and packs his bags and leaves Gemma and is going to London on my own, and time passes by means of one day. Martin is playing with his canine and at that point he sees Gemma's dog. Martin selections up a dog and brings it back to Gemma's residence. At that time Gemma tells him to come in the residence inner. Gemma offers him a letter to read. The letter is from Harvey's mother. She had written within the letter that if they did now not return her statue she might sue them and take them to court. After reading the letter, Gemma asks Martin and what must she do now. Martin answered that he wishes a while to reflect on consideration on it. After that Martin leaves. After some time Gemma's ex-boyfriend named Patrick involves her residence. She asks him why he's here and Patrick replies that he desires to apologize to her for what passed off among them changed into absolutely wrong, and after that he starts living with Gemma. One day Martin sees Gemma and Patrick kissing. Martin starts thinking about Gemma's individual. He thinks that Gemma has no emotions, but Gemma tells Patrick that whatever took place among them the day gone by changed into a mistake. Can't she doesn't want to peer him once more. After that she calls her husband and tells him that she loves him a lot. In the meantime Patrick comes back home. Patrick asks Gemma to head to London with him. After that Charles comes domestic. After a while Charles calls Martin and tells him to come right here and see what took place in his house. While Martin is going inside the residence he sees the useless frame of Gemma and he gets stunned. After a while he sees Patrick outside the residence. After that, after the police got here to take Gemma's dead frame, Martin asked the police approximately how Gemma died. The police tell him that she died of suffocation. A chunk of bread becomes stuck in her throat. After hearing that, Martin began wondering. Tomorrow all of us is present at Gemma's funeral. Martin goes to speak with Charles and tells him that Gemma died due to him. If he had now not given her the bread she might not have been lifeless, she could have nonetheless been alive. Charles replies Gemma died due to him. While he entered the residence he noticed Patrick keeping her from behind and he idea that they have been getting intimate and that is why he started hitting Patrick. Meanwhile Patrick changed into simply trying to take out the piece of bread from her throat through urgent her belly. If he had no longer stopped Patrick she would have been alive. At that moment Patrick comes and says that Gemma died due to him. He tells them that he was there in her room when she changed into eating bread. He kissed her neck and due to that the bread was caught in her throat. If he become now not there she could have been alive. After that everyone begins to leave. On the time Harvey comes there with a few vegetation and he blames himself for the loss of life of Gemma, because if he had no longer gotten into a dating with her and if he had now not damaged her heart she would never have long passed into despair and she could have nevertheless been alive. After that the story comes lower back to the present. We see Martin studying the diary. After some time he put his diary apart and stopped reading. After a long time one day Martin's son tells him that there's a brand new family in their community and they may be also husband and spouse. Martin goes to fulfill his new pals. He sees the wife of his new neighbor and he or she is a beautiful lady. He says hi to her the manner he stated it to Gemma, and with that the film ends right here. Thank you for watching the video. Like and subscribe for more. See you subsequent time. Take care.